All right, Paulinians, we're back. Solatium is back. It's been a while, hasn't it? When was our last episode? I can't even remember. Do you remember?
I think we've last released an episode last January.
January.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be back. Welcome to Solatium. All right, it's been a while. I'm a little rusty. I'm a little feel old. Feel like an old man. I feel like an old car that needs oil. So please excuse the rustiness. So in today's episode, since it's oh my goodness, I am very sorry. I forgot to introduce Justine. Look at this, Paulinians. Justine, she started on the team as our editor. If I'm not wrong, yeah, you're the editor, and now you got a promotion. Now you're a host. So next, your next promotion is you will be the directress of the school. So there we go. Beautiful introduction. So do you want to say anything to the audience? What they should know about you.
Hello, everyone. As usual, I am a Paulinian, a grade 9 student. I have been working behind the scenes. I've always been a part of Solatium, but I am only in charge of editing the episodes we have released. But now I'm really honored that I am here actually talking, So that's a really good promotion, I guess. So now I'm just really excited, especially with our topic. I think what we are to discuss is really interesting. So I'm very happy right now.
And what is our topic for today's episode?
So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about the upcoming elections. Yeah.
Yes. I think I've said this to, my teachers, friends, fellow Paulinians. I am not very well versed in politics, but that does not mean I don't think it's important. I think it's very important. I think it's an essential part of life, modern life. So it's important that we educate as many people with politics. When you think of the current state of, the Philippines politics, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I think I really want to touch on that, like how many people are often scared to talk about politics. I think why there's this fear in the discussion of politics is because we always see politics as something that is often misunderstood, and there are so many conflicts that would typically arise whenever we would talk about politics, how these people would often misunderstand each other. So I think that's why many people are so scared to talk about it. But in this case, like in this instance where the elections is like fast approaching, it's next week. So I think it's just so important that we start engaging ourselves in those healthy conversations about politics. We can speak in peace. We don't need to constantly fight over the candidates we are, advocating for. But, just simply educating each other about who is most deserving, especially since I think this election is really important. This marks like the conclusion of those 6 years that the term of our current president. So we're really expecting big changes to happen.
Yeah. And that's another thing, change. That's what I was going to say. Like, first thing that comes to my mind in terms of Philippine politics is change. Because, forgive me if I get anything wrong. This is a test for my Philippine history, but the state of Philippine politics has been for over the years. Ever since the start, it was like all over the place. There was really great leaders, and then some not so great leaders.
For sure, I think in history we have really seen. I know it's an unfortunate truth, but we have seen traces of corruption. These are very sad things to talk about, but these are the things that we need to look out for. Like, if we want to stop these things from occurring in our future, then we have to really take the chance and benefit from this opportunity, choosing and electing the right leader who is really deserving of this position.
So before we touch on, the elections, Philippine politics, I want to first show some light on the classroom politics, because I think that's really interesting. Because like, I don't know about you, but usually when I was growing up, I feel so old. Back in my day, um, when I was growing up, the person that they would vote for the class president is always like one of those students who just they seem like they live at school, you know, like they're super smart. Like it's like, what, do you live at school, you know, like those kind of there's nothing wrong with that, all right, you know. I was clearly not one of those kids, but you know, you always choose the one who's most equipped, most you know, the smartest guy in the room, smartest gal in the room. You choose the one who's, you know, who really fits the position. So I feel like as kids we're taught, okay, if we're gonna vote for the class president, we're gonna vote for the person who best suits that role. And I think it's a no-brainer. Obviously, this isn't a classroom. This isn't one giant classroom. This is the Philippines. This is the whole country. So, you know, we should vote for the one who's most well equipped. You know, we should vote for the person who we really think, like you said, deserves the position and best suits the position. So yeah, that's my take on the relationship between.
I think it's a really good reminder. Like ever since we were literal children in school, we were taught that in those classroom elections we should be electing the most equipped. So why shouldn't we do that now? I think this is more important since we are talking about the entire country.
Okay, funny side story. When I was in 7th grade, that was like, oh my goodness, that was years ago. I feel so old again. So when I was in 7th grade, somebody voted for me. I got a total of 1 vote for class president. So yeah, that person is terribly mistaken. Do not vote for somebody who looks like this. All right. But anyways, like you said, we're taught, you know, how to vote as literal children. So, you know, we should carry on. You know, like you wouldn't vote for the guy who doesn't show up to classes. You know, you wouldn't vote for that guy. Yeah,
yeah, there are also like a number of traits that we should try to find in a good leader. And I don't know, I think for me, one of the most important traits that we should be looking for is really how dedicated they are to serving. I think we really need to look at how genuine they are with their platforms, with what they want to do, with their objectives for the country. I think that is one good thing that we should be looking for. How about you?
Yeah, I don't think I can add anything to that, because like that was already that's what I was gonna say. I don't mean to be that guy, but you know, that's what I was gonna say. But you know, yeah, someone who's dedicated, someone who loves the job. You know, there are people like that who just love working. I'm not one of those people. But you know, there are people like that who just love to do work and love work. And obviously, we should choose someone who is. I don't mean to sound like that guy, you know, who's like super vague, super general, but you know, someone who's always there, someone who's always up for the job. That's what I was going to say. Someone who's always up to the task. And speaking of that, I would like to talk about the absence of one of the candidates. With the most recently, he was invited by Vice President Leni Robredo to have a debate, and he infamously yet again did not show up. So, you know, what do you think of that? Like, what's your take on that?
I am in no way speaking negatively of this candidate, but I just want to say that your presence in those debates, I think it is a very good reflection of you as a candidate. I mean, it is not so hard to attend those debates, and I think those debates actually stand as good platforms for you to show your platforms, to speak for yourself and really show these people that you are deserving of that position. So I don't really know what that candidate gets from not attending those debates, because I think it is really important. I think it shows your capacity as a leader. So yeah, I feel like it's okay. Let's say that those are just simple debates, but yeah, those are just simple debates. So why can't he attend? Like, that's my my take on it. I feel like if you're really dedicated to this, if you really want this position so badly, then why not put in the effort, you know? But again, as I've said, I am not speaking negatively about this candidate. That is just solely my take on this matter.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Yet again, that's what I was gonna say. Actions speak louder than words. You know, I'm a firm believer of that. So if he's not showing up to these small things, then what is he gonna do when the big things? You know, when the big things start happening. So yeah, that answers my question. So another thing that's been happening about in the upcoming election, another thing that happened is the ISCO situation. You know, yet again, we're not supposed to look down on. You kind of forgot what I was talking about. We're not supposed to look down on any candidates. We're not supposed to, you know, praise any candidates because, like I said, we're not here to promote. We're not here to not here to.
We're not here
Yeah.
to take anyone's reputation down, but
Yeah.
I think these are just solely important issues that we have to take into account. You know, with the election fast approaching, we have to be knowledgeable of the issues that come with these candidates, and about the ISCO situation. Or are we talking about him asking VP Robredo to withdraw?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, with that, I'm actually kind of conflicted within this issue because I don't know why he is asking her to withdraw. Like, again, not speaking negatively, but is he intimidated somehow? What is happening? So I don't really know why you need a candidate to withdraw, why you're making a candidate withdraw. Like, honestly, with the election coming next week, I think there's no time for you to destroy someone's morale, you know? I think
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, if you're really confident that you're going to win, and if you know that you have done your best to get this position, if you really think that you're deserving, then I don't see why you have to try and destroy anyone down. You know, I don't know why you should be taking anyone down. So yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, and with when he asked when I found out the news, I read it on this is gonna make me sound so old, but I read it on Facebook. All right, so I saw it on Facebook. I saw the news. It was obviously a reliable source. I don't just believe everything on the internet, you know. So it was a reliable source. I saw the news, and yeah, you know, I pretty much had the same reaction. Like, why, you know, like. And not just, this doesn't just apply to the elections, but any competition, you know, any kind of lineup of candidates or lineup of competitors. If this is going to be not really a actual fight, but you know what I mean, like a competition, then you should be focusing on yourself. You know, you shouldn't care about what the other person is doing. You should be focusing on yourself.
That is so true.
That's my take on the whole situation. And like I said earlier in the beginning of this episode, I'm not very well versed with politics. I don't really. There's not a specific reason why. It's just, you know, up until this point, I was just not well versed. You know, there was other things. Back in my day, you know, the kids didn't talk about this, but now that the elections are coming and they're about to happen next week, it's very important to know facts, to know the data, to know the legitimate information. And it's so easy to get fooled. It's so easy. Like, nowadays anybody can make a fake, like, news article. Like, it's so scary, you know.
Yeah, like, we get it. Social media is so important. These platforms, I think, are highly effective, but I think we're disregarding the fact that there are so much fake news circulating around the internet, and that in doing our research, we have to actually make sure that the information we are getting is credible. I think we should really touch on that, how fake news is so prevalent nowadays and how we really need to watch out and be careful.
Yeah, it's super important because like you can be the smartest man on the planet, but if someone fakes something good enough, it unfortunately it kind of becomes true amongst different people. Like if you there's an old saying, if it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, you know? Like what if that's just a goose? You know, what if that's a goose acting like a duck, you know? So it's super scary, and it's really important for us, not just Paulinians, but everybody. It's important for everybody to know that it's an unfortunate truth that, like you said, the internet, the social media platforms that we use, they're all very useful, but there is a lot of false things. There's a lot of bad things on there.
And I think it should also be a reminder of our responsibility. Like, yes, these social media platforms are made accessible to all, but like at the same time, we should be responsible of the content we are releasing onto these platforms, because these are released onto the public. So, everyone can see them, everyone can have access of them. So the best thing to do is, just really be responsible. If you're going to be posting anything, make sure that you're posting the truth. And that is something that the Paulinian Prism is doing with our Halalan 2022 special coverage. So if you want credible information, you know where to get it. Get it from the Paulinian Prism. Yeah.
There it is. So yeah, I want to touch on what you said earlier, responsibility. So for you, what do you think is like the reason why we need to be responsible? As Paulinians, why do we need to be involved in this as Paulinians?
You see, just what I've said, this is like the end of that 6-year term this is the end of the administration currently being held by our current president. So, in the end of those 6 years, we are being given, this another opportunity to elect to two highest positions of our government, the president and the vice president. And these are very important positions. So if we mess up, we literally have to stay put and to literally deal with that candidate for the next 6 years. So it's like one shot. We cannot screw this up. We are talking about 6 years here, 6 whole years.
Yeah.
This can
A lot.
Mhm.
A lot can happen in 6 years.
It can be either a new chapter of growth, or who knows, maybe we won't even get the development that we have been yearning for.
Yeah, so I think that says it all. Wow. Justine, I don't think you need me on the show anymore. But yeah, as the longtime viewers, the longtime fans of Solatium know that every episode we end on a special message. So funny story, right before recording this episode, me and Justin were talking, what is our special message for today? And I feel like this whole episode is the special message, but obviously we do have a special message. Take it away, Justine.
Okay, well, the entire episode is so important. Everyone, you should really listen to this episode. Like, the elections, it's next week. We are releasing this with the hopes of really educating everyone, with the hopes of reminding everyone of our grave responsibility. This is just one shot that we have. So with all our might, let us not screw this up. I think the campaigning period has commenced early on in February, and I think that has been a good time for us to actually reflect and observe the candidates that are standing right in front of us to see if they are actually deserving of the positions. Just as I have said, this is 6 years we're talking about, 6 whole years where there can either be change, or we can just remain stagnant. But I hope we aspire for change, we aspire for something better. And also, I am really happy that I get to talk in this episode, because I think we are representing the youth primarily. I know that the youth is often disregarded, that we shouldn't even be talking about politics because we are not even eligible to vote. But regardless of that, regardless of our age, I think it is very important the involvement of the youth in these matters, because just as Jose Rizal had said, we are the hope of this nation. And I don't want to sound cliche or superficial, but we really are. And I think that starts with engaging ourselves in this matter. So, yeah.
That was amazing. Wow. I don't think you need me on this show. Like you're the we just need her. We just need her on the show.
Oh
Take
my.
my job. But yeah. That does it, ladies and gentlemen, Paulinians. That was this episode of Solatium. Very important episode. Super important that you guys watch this, listen to it, and really reflect on it and vote wisely. You know, we got to choose the right person for the job. So, with that said, I've been your host, Vincent. That was the brand new host, Justine, and possibly the only host that we'll ever need. Yeah, thank you for watching this episode of Solatium, and as always, love and light.